Yo, guys. So if you're looking for a healthy snack, this is something that I like to make. It's kind of like a concoction. Sometimes I mix it all together with some milk, just for that extra boost. But I added the peanuts for this one, bananas. Basically, what this is it's some Greek yogurt. We have the ratio protein Greek yogurt. It's 28 grams per serving. This container has 4 servings. So you think you use like 1/4 of this, it's 28 grams of protein. So I'm gonna keep track of everything here. Let's just say on the lower end, I use with the amount I use, it's probably like 20 grams of protein. The nuts just added for extra boost. Nuts healthy fats. It's got 6 grams of protein, 15 grams of fat. So we'll just say 4 grams of protein with the nuts. Yogurt, and then with the yogurt, it's vanilla flavored, so it's white. So we actually add a scoop of protein. For me, when I do 2 scoops. I made this for my mom because she's gonna come to one of my appointments for lunch, and I wanted to have a little snack with some good protein. 2 scoops is 30 grams of protein, so I put 1 scoop in here, so that's 15 grams of protein. So 15 protein, protein powder. Um, and then a banana. Banana that's gonna get you some fiber, and it's overall healthy fruit. You can add a little bit of milk if you want to make it a good consistency, but then also for like some more healthy fats aside from the peanuts, because we have the peanuts for just like the taste and the salt. We get that balance. With the banana and everything, it's gonna taste kind of it's a kind of a funky meal, but everything here tastes excellent. All this stuff is healthy food. You can change brands or whatever, but this is the one I found, Greek yogurt. The vanilla flavor or strawberry flavor, they're really good. Plain Greek yogurt, for me, it's disgusting, but this makes the world of a difference. This tastes like actual yogurt. Of course, nuts. If you have an allergy, you switch them out. I have mixed nuts here. You can basically select whatever nuts, and then of course whatever protein you want. 1 or 2 scoops. They're all pretty much the same. This is the Walmart brand. It gets just something to get you by. The Jif creamy peanut butter, 7 grams, per tablespoon. I use about probably like 1.5 tablespoons. So let's just say 8 grams of protein. We'll round it up on that one. So 8 grams of protein. So we have the yogurt, we have the nuts, we have the protein powder, we have the banana, and then we have the peanut butter. So we add all that up. Here, 20 plus 15, 35, plus 8, 43, plus 4, 47. So 47 grams of protein plus carbs, fiber, healthy fats, and all this took was basically just 5 minutes of prep. You scoop this, you scoop protein, you mix it together. Once it's all mixed well, it's gonna mix real nice. Cut up a banana, pour some nuts in there, get the spoon, get a new spoon, scoop of protein, and there you have it. You can adjust it to size, but I'm just gonna guesstimate. Say this is probably anywhere between like 40 and like 55 grams of protein. And this is something I made in 5 minutes. Everyone has bananas. Probably everyone has peanut butter. A lot of people get nuts. Protein powder. A lot of us have to invest in it, but it's a good investment. It's just it's a supplement. That's what it is. It's not to be relied on. It's not to replace meals. It's a supplement. And then protein. Not a lot of us know about Greek yogurt, but Greek yogurt is very high in protein. Tastes really good. I don't know what they put in it, but these are the nutrition facts. As far as sugars, you're gonna get some sugar with this. 4 grams of sugar in this. There's probably like a gram or 2 of sugar in this one. 1 gram of sugar in the protein powder per serving. Of course, I'm not sure how much sugar nuts have, but 1 gram of protein, and then 1 gram of sugar, and then total sugars for the peanut butter, 3 grams. You got your dietary fiber even as well in the peanut butter, 2 grams of dietary fiber. A lot of your healthy sugar is going to be coming from this banana. You can add strawberries to this. You can add blueberries to this. You can add a lot of fruit to this. Different nuts, however you want to do it. But this is kind of like a little snack that I like to make. And I'm going to feed it to my mom. Maybe I'll get her reaction and see what, just her initial reaction of how it looks. Because, this looks crazy, But I promise you guys, it tastes really good. And if you look at the protein and nutrition facts, this is a meal, 40 to 55 grams of protein. I mean, this is a great snack. This is a power snack, something you eat on your lunch break or something like that. Say what you want about the meal, how it looks, or the foods used, but I'd say that's definitely a lot, 100 times better than just going and eating hot Cheetos and make chicken from McDonald's. Even though McChickens are they got their protein and stuff, but it's like fast food. You want to stay away from that shit, especially if you're trying to lose weight and feel good. A lot of my problems seemed to kind of go away once I started eating a lot healthier and controlling my portions and stop relying on fast food for every meal. It's hard in these days and age. And I mean, I have fast food, this week, so I can't really talk shit about that. But of course, like the more you eat at home, the better off you're gonna be. Home cooked meals are the way to go. That is just as just a quick protein snack. It's not anything that you should base your whole diet on. It's just what I used to get by. Something, a little concoction I made. You could probably find a better recipe online, but that's just something simple that really doesn't take too much brain power. Of course, if you're one of those picky eaters, you can even add a little bit of drizzle of maybe some caramel or some strawberry chocolate syrup. Because of course, we have our sugar issues. If you're gonna end up eating a whole bag of Reese's Pieces, one of those little cups, those Reese's Pieces unwrapped cups, those ones that you get at the store for $6 or $7. If you're gonna end up getting that, you might as well just maybe try to sacrifice that and get your sugar in with a little bit of chocolate syrup. Because I've done that before too. The chocolate syrup you make chocolate milk with, just drizzle that over the top. You can put some coconut or whatever, however you want to do it. Just the key to eating healthy is not to starve yourself or not to just eat the most healthiest foods. It's to make little changes and replace small things in your diet, and it eventually adds up. Because you do have to train your taste buds. It wasn't overnight that I lost weight. Guys, I used to be 260 pounds at the same height. Right now I'm 197 pounds, and although I'm not, obviously I'm pretty skinny fat, I'm pretty flabby. I don't lift weights, so of course if I started lifting weights, I'd gain muscle. Could probably gain about 15 pounds of muscle in a year if I dedicated myself, just because I'm pretty untrained right now. My arms are skinny as fuck, but I know that I'm at less of a risk of a heart attack than I was before. When I was 260 pounds, smoking vapes all day long. That's a dangerous lifestyle, and I can I know that there's people out there maybe that I know who might be living that lifestyle, and it's it's okay, because I was that was me, and I'm not trying to demonize anyone. There's a lot of guys that are healthier than me. There's dudes that are younger than me, and they're way more ripped than me. It can be discouraging to see oh yeah, this 20-year-old kid, he's way more handsome than me, got way more money, and his family life is way better. He's more healthier than me, and he looks better than me. He's bigger than me, he's taller than me, he has bigger muscles than me. It's you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone. Comparison is a thief of joy. I'm just posting this stuff and explaining that just so so people can brainstorm ideas. Maybe someone could share some cooking ideas, because obviously you guys have seen me post fast food. You guys have seen me post burritos. Breakfast burritos aren't completely terrible, but of course sometimes it can be unhealthy, depending on how you make them, depending on where you go. And then of course I'm no stranger to carne asada fries, from Arizona Donut, Filiberto's. I get those all the time. And then most important meal of the day, just getting in your nutrients. That's what it is. Breakfast, people do fasting, people do 3 meals a day, people do 1 meal a day, people fast for 3 days, then they eat 5,000 calories, and then they fast for another 3 days or whatever. However you want to do it, the best diet is the best diet for you is the best diet that you can stick to, and the best diet that you enjoy. If you enjoy eating fast food every day, do it. If you enjoy just eating vegetables, if you enjoy being vegan, do it. Some other things that help me out to kind of cut down on the weight and the calories a little bit and increase my protein was this protein pasta. 21 grams of protein. We eat pastas every day as Americans. As Mexicans, we do it all the time. Made in Italy. But this protein pasta, you can get multiple brands. It's got 21 grams of protein and 9 grams of fiber. and the whole thing has got 6 servings. So 6 times uh amount per serving. So I don't really, yeah. Anyway, 6 servings per container, and it says it has here 12 grams per serving. So 12 times 6 was that 72. So this whole thing is 72 grams of protein. So just think, if you make your pasta with protein pasta, you're getting an extra 72 grams of protein in your meal, along, with your chicken. A lot of us like chicken Alfredo. That's one of my favorite dishes. For the Alfredo sauce, I kind of just go willy-nilly and just get just whatever Alfredo sauce is the best. You can make homemade ones. Those are probably the best for you. But for me, as a young guy, I'm on the go all the time. I don't have any kids or anyone that I really cook for other than myself and my grandparents. But I'm just saying that because the way I cook, it's just specifically tailored to myself. Some people cook for their family, some people cook for their, others. I do cook for my family, but I'm just saying, when I'm at home, my everyday life, I mostly just cook for myself. That meal you saw me make, I made it for my mom. My mom made me dinner last night. My sister brought me chicken strips last night. She likes making homemade chicken strips in the air fryer. Air fryer is really good. No oils. You can cook raw chicken in an air fryer. You can throw a raw chicken breast in an air fryer, season it up, and then you just flip it. Takes like less than 20 minutes. I've done it before. I've done it in the air fryer that I showed you guys when I made that ramen noodles and those protein nuggets. Yeah. As you get older, your taste buds change, and the foods you eat change. When I was a kid, I was eating chicken nuggets, fries. I didn't like carne asada. I thought it was nasty. Then I tried it. It was good. Think Mexican. Imagine if I never ate carne asada. My life would be completely different just off that food alone. Cereals. Get a healthy cereal. There's healthy cereals. You can. I wouldn't suggest adding sugar to cereals just because they already have a lot of sugar. I've never done that before, but I know a lot of people do that with like Cheerios and stuff. I guess that kind of defeats the purpose. If you're gonna add sugar, you might as well just get a sugary cereal. One thing I need to do for myself is eat more fruits and vegetables, because I noticed my vitamin C deficiencies. My fiber is low. My vitamin A is low. I don't eat carrots. My vision, can get vision stuff, but things like this. I'm gonna show you what I have here in the fridge. This mixed bag of fruit is like $6 or something. They have a smaller one. They're like $3, $2. They have one with berries. It has strawberries. You can get these from Walmart, and you keep them frozen. So a lot of people use these for shakes, but for me, what I mostly use them for, because I don't really make shakes here, here's another one, berry medley. These are like $3, $4 with tax on a bad day, but. You get these and you just take them out of your freezer and you just munch on them. They're fruit. It's just frozen. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, unless you have sensitive teeth that, eating a frozen fruit is going to damage, break your teeth, then maybe you'd want to just, blend it in a blender and make a smoothie out of it. But, the alternative to buying fresh fruit all the time and having it spoil is to just buy frozen fruit. The cost is a little bit more. You do end up getting it from, grocery stores. The best probably fruit you can get would be from a local farmer's market, the Lemon Grove in town or those Yuma Palms markets. They sell a lot of fruit there. People who do that are really conscious of the environment and the world, and they're pretty, empathetic a lot of the times, it seems. Anyways, that's just my take on a bit of a healthy snack, and kind of like an insight as to, how I lost some weight and how I, try to stick healthy. Like I said, chicken Alfredo, you can make the chicken in the air fryer to avoid all that fat from frying it. You don't have to use any oils. If you want to add a little bit of oil to the whole mix at the end, you can. Just make sure you measure it. Make sure you know what you're adding. Protein pasta, and then you got your Alfredo sauce. You got the Alfredo sauce. That's probably the most, sodium. Drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water. You got your protein powders. That's a supplement. Don't rely on supplements for your daily nutrients. Supplements. It's not staple. Staples are meat and potatoes. You can survive off eating meat and potatoes your whole life. There's people that do it. You can survive off vegetables. like I said, the best diet is the one that works for you and the one you're most happy with. So yeah, you guys will probably see me get fat if you know me. You know, my whole life I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been fat, skinny. It goes up and down. It's crazy. It's real crazy. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments, or you can DM me. Peace out.